Come and see, come and see, come and see the King of Love. See the purple robe and crown of thorns he wears. Soldiers mock, rulers sneer, as he lifts the cruel cross. Lone and friendless now, he climbs towards the hill. We worship at your feet, where wrath and mercy meet, and a guilty world is washed by love's pure stream. For us he was made sin. Oh, help me take it in. Deep wounds of love cry out, Father, forgive. I worship the Lamb who was slain.
Our first reflection in this Lenten series on the 7 last words of Christ comes from Luke's Gospel, the 34th verse of the 23rd chapter, where Jesus, hanging on the cross between 2 convicted criminals, speaks the simple words, Father, forgive them. They do not know what they are doing. Who he was talking about? We can argue it. Would it be the other criminals? Would it be the Roman centurions who were gambling for his garments at the foot of the cross? Could it have been Pilate himself or some of the Jewish authorities? It really makes no difference. His words that day were words of forgiveness. I remember when I got the phone call, there was a voice that I recognized on the other end of the phone, simply saying to me after identifying herself, Father, can you please say a prayer for Billy? She went on to tell me how Billy, a kid that I knew from my very first assignment as a parish priest, a kid that I met when he was in the middle grades in the parish school and knew through high school, a kid who always had a sparkle in his eye and always seemed to be up to a little bit of mischief, but who had matured into a wonderful, strong human being who worked hard and was responsible in every aspect of life. Billy, late one night, was hungry and was on his way to a local place to grab something to eat. And as he drove through the neighborhood, a car, driven by a teenager, sped down a street that intersected, and it broadsided Billy's car. The impact was so severe that Billy was ejected from the car, over a fence, into a neighboring yard. And now there was a vigil for him at the local hospital. It didn't take very long to understand that Billy's injuries were going to be fatal. And I can remember speaking with his family and trying to make some sense of all of it. Billy, a good kid, dying a tragic death. And yet, as we prepared for his funeral, another piece of the puzzle evolved. For I was told that the kid driving the car, a teenager, was a kid from my current assignment, a kid that I knew just as I knew Billy, from the grammar school and through high school. And this kid made a tragic mistake that night. I can remember reaching out to call the driver of the car's family and the need to make that call but the feeling of how awkward it was. I can remember standing at the pulpit in Billy's parish church, preaching at his funeral mass, and looking out into a congregation filled with people, and not so much seeing but sensing, for the feelings were palpable. The hurt, the frustration, and even the anger of so many in that church. After the funeral, the legal system kicked in, and there wasn't really a question of innocence or guilt. It was simply a question of what would happen to this teenager and how the rest of his life would be played out. At that time in Cook County, there was a program for young offenders. It was a boot camp of sorts, a military-style operation, where young people paid a price for their crimes, but also had some hope at the end. I discovered that the decision on what to recommend for this young offender would rest largely with Billy's family and the decision they had to make. I soon found out, without any hint of surprise, but with a sense of delight, that they recommended this kid for a boot camp. They wanted this young offender to be able to pick up the pieces of his life, at least someday. It is a question or a story, my friends, of forgiveness, of people whose hearts were broken, and yet they found the ability to see a larger picture. As we begin this season of Lent, I wonder if you and I, are we able to forgive, or do the stuff of our lives, the heartache, the resentments, make us stiff-necked and hard-hearted? Ignatius of Loyola is said to have spoken to someone struggling with this very issue. And the person said he wasn't sure he desired to forgive someone else. Ignatius, I am told, said to him, if you lack the desire, at least have a desire for the desire, and then turn it over to God. For the things that are difficult, seemingly impossible for you and I, my friends, as we begin this Lenten journey, let's remember, with God, all things are possible.
Come and weep, come and mourn, for your sin that pierced him there, so much deeper than the wounds of thorn and nail. All our pride, all our greed, all our fallenness and shame, and the Lord has laid the punishment on him. We worship at your feet, where wrath and mercy meet, and a guilty world is washed by love's pure stream. For us he was made sin, oh, help me take it in. Deep wounds of love cry out, Father, forgive. I worship the Lamb who was slain.